The Belgian Grand Prix is over. Kimi Antonelli's winning streak has resumed. He took victory at Spa. The Ferraris are closing in, yet not close enough to pose a real challenge for either the 2026 Constructors or Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen landed on the podium again through more lucky circumstances, and Fernando Alonso creeping around at the back lapped twice in a single race, but all of it is irrelevant to the one all-grasping question. What happens to the driver market for 2027? Who will be on the grid, and with whom? And for that, what was said on Thursday during Media Day matters far more than the actually Sunday results. So here is the latest driver market update after the 2026 Belgian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen and the art of saying nothing. Let us start at the top. Max Verstappen sat in the FIA press conference today, and he was asked about his future, directly, by multiple journalists. Here is what he gave them. Is there any update on your future? No. What do you make of the speculation? Nothing. Do you have a date in mind? Nope. There is nothing to say from my side. So, full commitment to Red Bull in 2026? I said there is nothing to say. 4 questions, 14 words. Look, I have been in this paddock a long time. Max Verstappen is not a man short of opinions. When he thinks a rumor is nonsense, he says it is nonsense. He has done it 100 times. Today he sounded like Lance Stroll on a bad Thursday. And then Marianne Becker from TV Global went at it again. Do you want to stay at Red Bull next year? Are you driving for Red Bull next year? And Max said, I do not want to go here and say yes and no, and this and that, about my future. I have said already many times that if there was something new, I would say it myself. This is simply odd. That is not a denial. Here is the thing. He was perfectly happy to talk today. He talked at length about Laurent Mekies. He talked at length about Kimi Antonelli. He gave a beautiful, expansive answer about his new young driver project with Dries van Langendonk, the 15-year-old McLaren junior he is now mentoring. Hand in hand with McLaren, he said. He had words for everything, except his own seat. This is my read. Max is not going to McLaren in 2027. I said this in the preview, and I stand by it. But something is happening. You do not go monosyllabic on a question you could kill in one sentence. He is protecting a process. Whether that process ends with Red Bull, with a sabbatical, or with something none of us have thought of yet, he is not ready. 2. Oscar Piastri gives the answer. Now contrast that. Same paddock, same day. Oscar Piastri sits down. First question out of the gate. Could you please confirm you are going to compete for McLaren in 2027? Yes, one word. Done. No hedging. No, we will see. No, ask my manager. Yes. And he did not stop there. He was asked about the Verstappen noise directly. And he said he is very comfortable with where he is, that Zach Brown and Andrea Stella and the whole team have backed him. My read, Oscar Piastri is the most secure man in this paddock right now. And that yes was deliberate. When your own seat is the subject of a global rumor storm, one word is worth more than a press release. But here is the wildcard, the part of silly season that puts the silly in season, as one of my colleagues inside the paddock suggested after the Oscar session. What if Lando makes the swap with Max in 2027? Food for thought. Wink wink. 3. Ayao Komatsu wants you to call Ferrari. Now this one was uncomfortable. Haas team principal Ayao Komatsu walks in. First question, have you asked Ferrari about the drivers? And he goes, I do not think I need to explain to you how it works. Please ask Ferrari. Ferrari will decide first. He is a Ferrari Academy driver. Ask Fred. The ball is in Fred's court. That is the Haas team principal telling the assembled press that he does not control his own driver lineup. Then it got sharper. He was asked, would you be comfortable running 2 drivers who are contracted to other teams? 2 drivers on loan. The reference is clearly pointed on Leonardo Fornaroli possibly driving for Haas next year. And Komatsu said that is not a main concern. All he wants is drivers who produce maximum results. He is not denying it. He is not saying, no, my drivers are my drivers. He is saying he does not care whose paperwork they are on as long as they are fast. But then he said the thing that actually matters. He was asked whether nationality plays a role in seat decisions. Because of Toyota. Because of the obvious question about a Japanese driver. And Komatsu did not hedge for a second. For me, no. He said he was totally clear with Akio Toyoda from day one. Choose the driver by performance. 100%. Because if you put a driver in because of nationality, that discredits everyone, including the driver himself. Because then the perception is that he is only here because of Toyota, because of money. He said that does Toyota no good, Akio-san no good, Haas no good, and the driver no good. And then the line of the day. We are never going to take somebody behind because he is Japanese or Italian or whatever. We do not care. That is the amazing thing about Formula One. My read. Komatsu is a straight shooter on principle and evasive on process. He will not compromise on merit. But he also has just told the world that Haas does not hold the pen on its own driver market. Those two facts together tell you exactly how much leverage Haas has right now, which is not much. It's not 4. Oliver Bearman shuts it down. So let us go to the driver at the center of that. Oliver Bearman. First question. Some people are suggesting Red Bull is interested in your services all of a sudden. What do you think? And Bearman handled it beautifully. He said it is flattering. Red Bull are incredibly successful. To be connected with them in any way, even if it is just rumors, is very nice. But, and this is the key, like I said, it is just rumors and I am fully focused on what I am doing here with Haas at the moment. Then the follow-up. Would your future not be at Ferrari rather than Red Bull? Well, I hope so. He said Ferrari trusted him from the very beginning in Formula 3. They put him in that car in 2024. They are the reason he is here right now. So, I called this rumor desperate in the preview, and Bearman just confirmed it. Red Bull is not happening. Ferrari holds his career. But then came the part nobody is talking about. He was asked, have Ferrari given you any indication of your next steps? No. At the moment, I do not have a contract for next year. So yeah, just waiting in the dark. Waiting in the dark. And the follow-up. So you are a true free agent for 2027 with no links whatsoever? No, that is not what I said. No. And the moderator immediately said, right. We will move on from this topic, please. Stop right there. That is the story. Not Red Bull. Oliver Bearman has no contract for 2027. He is a Ferrari asset waiting on a Ferrari decision. And his own team principal is telling journalists to phone Maranello. The Red Bull rumor was noise. But the vacuum underneath it is completely real. Bearman is genuinely on the record unsigned. 5. Nico Hulkenberg kills it. In one sentence. Quick one. But important because, like Oscar Piastri, Nico knows how you shut a rumor down properly. He was asked straight, do you know if you are going to race for that team next year? Yes. Then he expanded. He said it is typical summer F1 noise. He said the team is very happy with Gabriel Bortoleto and himself. He said this is year one, they are only getting started. And then, contracts are very clear. He addressed the Sainz link directly. He said the reserve driver's seat is available, but he doubts Carlos would be interested in that. Who says Germans have no sense of humor? My read, this is what a real denial looks like. Compare it to Max's 14 words. Hulkenberg had every opportunity to be coy, he was not. Audi is settled. 6. Carlos Sainz is writing his own resume. Now to the person who knows to sell himself. Carlos Sainz sat down today and gave what was, on paper, a normal answer about a difficult season at Williams. But listen to what he actually did. He said his statistics this year have been incredibly good. Really good qualifying. Really good race pace. Best starter on the grid. Both in start performance and position gain. Everything he can cover, he is covering. Then he said, team principals look at these details. Teams look into all this more than the media and the fans do because Williams is not on TV and not in the headlines. Then he told a story. And this is where it gets interesting. He told the story of joining Ferrari. How Mattia Binotto and Laurent Mekies presented him a document of all his performances for the last 6 years. Against teammates. Against the whole grid. Wet, dry, dry to wet. Qualifying. His Q1 performances versus Q2. He said he was shocked at how much they knew. He thought they would not know because he had been at McLaren, Renault and Toro Rosso. He said, they scouted me, and that is why they chose me. He said they chose him over Daniel Ricciardo and other contenders for that Ferrari seat. He said he was impressed, happily impressed. Now, ask yourself why a Williams driver in the middle of a bad season spends 2 full minutes of a media session recounting in loving detail how a top team scouted him, analyzed him and picked him over Ricciardo. Then, and only then, he was asked whether he is thinking about future opportunities. And he said no. He said he knows for a fact what his preference would be for this project to work. He said you cannot imagine how much effort he is putting into this project. Here is my read, and it is our interpretation, so take it as that. That is a man reading his own scouting report out loud into a room full of microphones. Everything he said was technically about loyalty to Williams, but the content was a curriculum vitae. My statistics are elite. Top teams have the tools to see it. Ferrari saw it. Ferrari picked me over Ricciardo. And underneath it, a quiet, careful transfer of blame. He said his performance will never get affected by the car. He said he would rather be fighting for P1s and podiums. He said if he spent 5 more years fighting for P16, then maybe yes. Maybe, yes. And Alex Albon. sitting in a different room today, described a Williams that is in a rebuilding phase, that started its updates late, that has brought fewer upgrades than its rivals, and that is already transitioning to next year's car. One team. Two very different jobs being done in front of the media. I am not telling you Carlos Sainz has a deal anywhere. I'm telling you that answer was not aimed at Williams fans. It was aimed at the few people in this sport who read transcripts and make decisions. 7. Fernando Alonso is not going anywhere. And finally, the one that will not make headlines. Fernando Alonso is having a miserable season. Aston Martin are at the back. He was asked today essentially if this is rock bottom. And a lesser driver, a driver on the way out, would have taken that opening. Instead, listen to what he did. He said he does not want to be negative every weekend about the rules. He said there is no point. He said we should be constructively thinking about the way forward. And then came a flood of negative statements. There is simple reason for that. There is simply nothing positive to say except may the car looks great in racing green. Reference to Lance Stroll at the beginning of the season in Bahrain. My read, and again, this is our interpretation. Fernando Alonso is 44 years old, driving the slowest car of his career. And today, he was talking about the 2027 regulations and Aston Martin's next year like a man with equity. Because he has. Everyone in this paddock knows the Alonso relationship with Aston Martin extends past the cockpit. He has been building something at Silverstone that outlasts his driving career. He is not auditioning. Sainz is auditioning. Alonso is invested. That is the difference. And it is why, for all the noise, I would be genuinely surprised if Fernando Alonso finishes his F1 career anywhere other than green. The scorecard. So, where does the market actually stand tonight at Spa? Locked. Oscar Piastri. Confirmed himself. One word, no hedge. Nico Hulkenberg. Valid contract. Has fun with the rumour. Done. Loud but empty. Bearman to Red Bull. Killed by Bearman himself. Genuinely open. Oliver Bearman's 2027 seat. No contract. Waiting on Ferrari. His own team boss says ask Fred. The vacuum. Max Verstappen. Not a word. And that silence is doing more damage to the paddock's nerves than any statement could. Reading between the lines. Carlos Sainz marketing himself in plain sight. Fernando Alonso quietly signaling he has a future at Aston Martin that has nothing to do with the steering wheel. The driver market did not open at Spa, it exploded. And the man at the center of it said 14 words all day. Like at Aston Martin, the word is patience, but the waiting could soon be over as we close Belgium this weekend and open Budapest for the big reveal of a truly silly season. More on this in the coming days, and remember to like and leave comments to win with Bear. We will close the campaign soon and reveal the winner in Budapest. Thanks for watching.